Welcome back to Literary Horizon. There is a famous saying in world literature: all of modern fiction came out from under Gogol's overcoat. But if Gogol gave us the fabric, it was two other men who gave the novel its soul, its blood, and its terrifyingly deep psychological pulse: Fyodor Dostoevsky and Leo Tolstoy. 2 seconds. They are the twin sons of the Russian Golden Age. They lived at the same time, in the same country, observing the same social upheavals, yet they looked at the human heart through completely different lenses. For over 150 years, they have been crowned the kings of the psychological novel. But in an era of 15-second videos and instant digital gratification, why do we still find ourselves pulled into their 1,000-page epics? Why does a starving student in St. Petersburg or a heartbroken aristocrat in Moscow still feel more real to us than characters written yesterday? Today, we are dissecting the Russian soul. We are traveling into the basement of the human mind with Dostoevsky and across the vast panoramic landscapes of life with Tolstoy. This is the ultimate exploration of the underground versus the epic. Let's find out why these two men are still the undisputed masters of the human psyche. If you want to understand the parts of yourself that you are afraid to admit exist, the messy, contradictory, and often irrational dark corners of your mind, you read Fyodor Dostoevsky. He doesn't just write characters. He performs a spiritual autopsy. Think about Rodion Raskolnikov in Crime and Punishment. He isn't your typical villain. He is a brilliant, impoverished student who convinces himself, through cold logic, that he has the right to commit murder for a greater good. Dostoevsky doesn't just show us the crime. He traps us inside Raskolnikov's feverish, paranoid mind for the next 400 pages. We feel the sweat on his palm, the pounding of his heart, and the agonizing weight of a conscience that he tried to outrun. Dostoevsky's psychology is vertical. He digs deep into the underground. He was the first novelist to truly show that a human being can hold two completely opposite ideas in their head at the exact same time and believe both of them. He explored the spite of the human spirit. In Notes from Underground, his narrator famously declares that humans will sometimes destroy their own happiness just to prove they have the free will to do so. In his final masterpiece, The Brothers Karamazov, he asks the heaviest questions humanity has ever faced. Is there a God? If not, is everything permitted? Can we find redemption through suffering? Dostoevsky's novels are not comfortable. They are nervous breakdowns put to paper. He shows us the night side of the human soul, the side that screams in the dark. To read Dostoevsky is to realize that the greatest battlefield in the entire world is not a field of war, but the narrow, crowded space inside the human heart. While Dostoevsky is the master of the inner scream, Leo Tolstoy is the master of the external gaze. If Dostoevsky is a microscope looking at a single cell, Tolstoy is a wide-angle lens capturing the entire horizon. In War and Peace and Anna Karenina, Tolstoy achieves something that feels almost divine. He captures life exactly as it feels to live it. He has an uncanny, almost supernatural ability to inhabit any soul. He understands the psychology of a soldier facing cannon fire on a battlefield, a young girl experiencing the dizzying magic of her first ball, and even, incredibly, the internal thoughts of a hunting dog chasing a scent. Tolstoy's psychology is horizontal. He maps out how we are shaped by our families, our history, and our social environments. Take Anna Karenina. She isn't just a woman caught in a tragic affair. She is a vibrant, living soul being slowly suffocated by the cold hypocrisy of high society St. Petersburg. Tolstoy shows us the psychology of the mundane, how we lie to ourselves over breakfast, how we fall in love while talking about the weather, and how we face the terrifying reality of death while standing in a beautiful garden. He famously said, "Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself." His novels are massive mirrors held up to humanity. You see your own vanity, your own search for meaning, and your own fear of insignificance reflected in his characters. Tolstoy doesn't just tell a story. He constructs a world so detailed, so breathing, and so real that you forget you are reading a book at all. You feel as though you are simply living a second life. The reason these two are still the kings is the incredible tension between their philosophies. As a student of literature, I find that we usually lean toward one or the other, depending on where we are in our own lives. Dostoevsky's characters are often on the edge of a spiritual or mental collapse. They represent the extreme, the radical, and the traumatized. He predicts the 20th century, the age of anxiety, existentialism, and the fragmented self. He is the prophet of the inner man. Tolstoy's characters, even when they suffer, feel grounded in the earth. They are part of the soil, the seasons, and the flow of history. He captures the timeless, 19th century beauty of the outer man. Dostoevsky shows us what we fear we are in our darkest moments. Tolstoy shows us what we actually are in the light of day. Dostoevsky asks, "How can I save my soul?" while Tolstoy asks, "How should I live my life?" Together, they cover the entire spectrum of human experience. You cannot truly understand the modern novel without acknowledging both. Dostoevsky tells you why you might be driven to madness. Tolstoy tells you why you must keep walking toward the light. This brings us back to our theme here at Literary Horizon. Why do these two Russian men, writing in a specific time and place, resonate so deeply in 2026? Why do they matter in the West, in India, and across the globe? It's because the Russian soul they wrote about is actually just the human soul. The struggle of a little man against a heartless bureaucracy in St. Petersburg is the same struggle we see in the works of Bengali masters or American realists. The spiritual crisis of Ivan Karamazov is the same crisis felt by anyone anywhere who has ever looked at the suffering in the world and asked, why? Their influence is like the air we breathe in literature. You can see Dostoevsky's shadow in every psychological thriller and every anti-hero on television today. You can see Tolstoy's influence in every sprawling family saga and every historical epic. They taught us that the novel is not just a form of entertainment, it is a laboratory. It is a place where we can test the limits of human endurance, morality, and love. They proved that the deepest mysteries of the universe aren't found in the stars, but in the person sitting right next to you. So, the question remains, who is the true king? The truth is, we don't have to choose. If you are in a season of your life where you feel restless, full of questions, and perhaps a little bit broken, Dostoevsky will be your most loyal companion. He will sit with you in the dark and tell you that he understands. But if you are looking for clarity, for the beauty of the everyday, and for a map to navigate the complexities of society and nature, Tolstoy will be your master. They remain the kings because they refuse to simplify us. They gave us characters who are ugly, beautiful, cruel, and kind all at once. They gave us humanity in its full, confusing glory. Thank you for joining me for this cinematic journey into the heart of Russia. I want to know your thoughts. Are you Team Dostoevsky or Team Tolstoy? Which of their books made you question your own life? Let's start a deep conversation in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into global literature, please subscribe to Literary Horizon. We have so many more worlds to visit and so many more pages to turn. Until next time, keep reading and keep exploring the horizon. This is Literary Horizon.